gather here today to celebrate the historic victory for compassion, justice, and progress. With the passing of Proposition A, San Francisco has once again demonstrated its unwavering commitment to supporting those in need and uplifting the voice of vulnerable among us. At the heart of this historic moment lies a profound acknowledgement of the challenges faced by survivors of domestic violence, trafficking, and sexual exploitation. For too long, these individuals have borne the weight of unimaginable trauma without adequate support or resources. But today, we stand together and say, no more.
No more. No more.
Proposition A is not merely a bond measure, it's a beacon of hope and promise of healing. With $30 million allocated specifically to survivors of domestic violence, trafficking, and sexual exploitation, we are taking a bold step towards providing them with the safe and stable housing they deserve. This funding will not only offer physical shelter, but serve as a sanctuary, a place where survivors can reclaim their autonomy, rebuild their lives, and envision a future filled with possibility and promise. It is an investment in their resilience, their dignity, and their right to live free from fear and uncertainty. But let's be clear, Proposition A is just the beginning. Our work is far from over, and the road ahead of us will be challenging. Yet we know that together, we have the power to effect lasting change. To the survivors who have bravely shared their stories, to the advocates who have tirelessly championed their cause, and to the voters who have placed their trust in progress, we thank you. And to our champion, Board President Aaron Peskin, we say thank you for your vision and your commitment. Today you will hear from distinguished members of our community, from supervisors to frontline champions. And to begin, it's my honor to welcome the President of the Board of Supervisors, Mr. Aaron Peskin.
Thank you, Eve. My mother is an immigrant to this country, so she wasn't exactly clear on how we do things here, and she didn't exactly understand Mother's Day, because she explained to me that every day of the year is Mother's Day. And I think we can all agree that every month is Women's History Month, 365 days a year. I want to acknowledge the organizations that live that motto every day, who are relentless and passionate in fighting for women to have a safe, accessible, secure space to heal, to grow, and ultimately to thrive. The community-based nonprofits you see assembled here today have been serving women through hard times, through good times, through fiscal ins and outs. I remember when the leaders of the Women's Housing Coalition came to my office and said, we really need an all-hands intensive retreat with city departments to identify solutions to the problems plaguing women who've survived violence and trauma and abuse, and who are struggling to get back on their feet in a system that is really not designed for them. So we co-hosted that retreat last summer, and one of the solutions was to dedicate affordable housing funds in this past March $300 million bond to build, rehabilitate, and acquire affordable housing dedicated to women who must have a gender-based home to stabilize in. It was a first for this city, and I guarantee you it will not be a last. We already knew that we could target funding and make it go to good uses. We did the same thing in 2019 when we partnered with the United Educators of San Francisco and the American Federation of Teachers, Local 2121, to dedicate funds in that affordable housing bond to build educator housing. And voters took a chance on our idea to pair that bond with streamlining measures. And today we have the Shirley Chisholm Apartments that house SFUSD and City College employees in the Sunset District. But we don't just want to name housing after phenomenal women, right?
No.
If we care about women, we need to house women.
Yes.
If we support women, we need to fund women.
Yes.
And so I asked Sammy Rayner and Rebecca Jackson and Eve Langston, what would it cost to help further your work? They've already done so much incredible work to map out a vision for a women's center with services, childcare, transitional long-term housing, treatment services, and workforce development. And they said $30 million would be enough at least to leverage the work that we're already doing. It was an investment that the voters agreed to, and they overwhelmingly supported it above the 2/3 vote required in that March bond. And it's because of all of you who were in the streets with us campaigning, and I want to thank each and every one of you, and I look forward to welcoming residents into their new homes, because we are putting our money where our values are. I really want to thank my colleagues on the Board of Supervisors, Supervisors Chan, Walton, Preston, Ronan, the entire Board of Supervisors that agreed to put this on the ballot, and profound thanks to the voters of San Francisco who totally get it.
Thank you, Supervisor. Up next, it's my pleasure to bring up the Executive Director of Freedom Forward, Francesca Gonzalez.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Supervisor Peskin. It is both an honor and a profound joy to stand before you today, representing Freedom Forward and the Women's Housing Coalition as we celebrate a monumental victory for our community, the passing of Prop A. This is not just a win for us. It is a lifeline for young women and gender-expansive youth ages 18 to 24 in our beloved city of San Francisco. As of last year, over 20% of the unhoused youth in San Francisco were young women and gender-expansive youth ages 18 to 24. And these are not just numbers. These are lives that have been marred by the harsh realities of homelessness. And without a roof over their heads, these young women and gender-expansive youth are vulnerable to violence, exploitation, and sex trafficking. Unfortunately, just recently, our hearts were heavy as our Heights Center lost one of our own. A young woman, unhoused and in an abusive relationship, tragically fell victim to her abuser. Her story is a solemn reminder of the urgency and necessity of the work we do. It underscores the vital importance of providing safe havens and resources to those in need. But today, we turn a new page. The passage of Prop A signifies a beacon of hope and a promise of change. With these funds, we can now provide the safe, stable, and supportive housing that our young women and gender-expansive youth desperately need. This isn't just about giving them a place to stay. It's about offering them a foundation upon which they can rebuild their lives, pursue their education, and fulfill their dreams without fear. Today, let's celebrate this victory, but let us also remember that our work is far from over and there is much to be done. And it requires that each one of us is working hand in hand to make a lasting difference. And I know together we can create a future where every young woman and gender-expansive young person has the opportunity to thrive in San Francisco. Thank you for your support, your dedication, and your belief in a better tomorrow.
Thank you, Francesca. Up next, it's my pleasure, back and fighting again, Supervisor Hillary Ronan. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's not every day that we get to celebrate an absolute and complete victory for the vulnerable people of our city, and today is one of those days. And I want to just thank every single person here who fought so hard to get Prop A passed. I also want to talk a little bit about what it takes to address sex work in a residential neighborhood. I'm the supervisor of the Mission, and recently there's been a lot of articles and a lot of talk about the fact that there has been a sex worker track on Cap Street and on Shotwell Street in the Mission for at least 50 years. It's been a very long time. And a lot of neighbors complain about it. They want more police, they want more lighting and vigilance and cameras to surveil people. And what I keep explaining is that the only reason we're going to be able to make an impact on sex work in the neighborhood of San Francisco is if we offer real resources to women, offer housing and a place for them to stay, because a massive percentage, a vast majority of women engaged in sex work are homeless, and that's the real way that we solve this issue. I told all of those neighbors that the best thing that they can do to make a difference in the street conditions in front of their homes is to support Prop A. Because with this $30 million, we are going to create double, if not triple, emergency shelter for women who are experiencing homelessness on our streets. And we are going to double, if not triple, the amount of transitional housing that will get women off the streets, give other types of career opportunities, and change their lives. So these types of measures that the voters voted for, like Prop A, are the true solutions, the true and deep solutions to so many of the problems plaguing us in San Francisco and that are creating the street conditions that have our neighbors up in arms. So thanks again to everyone who worked to get Prop A passed. Thanks to all the voters who voted for Prop A, and let's build this housing and shelter for women as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Supervisor. Up next, we have the Co-Executive Director of Black Women Revolt Against Domestic Violence, Dr. Pamela Tate.
Thank you, and thank you, Supervisor Ronan, thank you. Wow, this has been quite the journey. We are so excited that we are going to be able to provide housing here in the city, specifically for women and families who are starting over. We'd really like to thank the voters, because of course none of this could have been done without you all. That is so important that you were able to get this passed. We're celebrating today, right? We're celebrating today. There are so many things that people need, but housing is essential for people who are planning to start over. Housing, childcare, and without those two items, they can't work, right? And so we're really, really grateful that San Francisco is making the investment in women and families so that they can begin to heal from harm. They no longer will need to work on the streets, and they will be able to secure jobs that will provide for their family. Thank you all for your vote. Thank you all for your support, your ongoing support, because this is not over, right? This is not over. We got buildings to build. We got buildings to fill. And so thank you everybody for being here, and thanks for the celebration. Thank you supervisors. Thank you everyone.
Thank you, Doctor. Up next, it's my pleasure to bring out Supervisor Connie Chan. Thank you.
Thank you. Today, you're witnessing the results of women power. This is what women power looks like. We say that, I want to say this, and we say this, that women here had a plan. They actually recruited me and my fellow supervisors, and definitely Board President Peskin. We had a little tour. They stood in a circle. They told us about their plan to house women, their plan to care for women in this city, their plan to care for the women so that they too can care for their children and their families in San Francisco. And with that plan and their power, women's power, we're here today. But I agree with many to say that today is just a start of a celebration of women's power. You're gonna see more of it to come, San Francisco. You're gonna see that not only that we're gonna house women today in that one spot, we're gonna house women all over San Francisco, citywide, from now on. We're gonna make sure that no women and no children and no families are gonna be left behind on our streets, suffering crisis on our streets. That is the promise that we start with Proposition A. We're gonna deliver, because you know why? Women gets it done. And that's to say, that woman power though, it's what got Board President Peskin and my colleagues. I saw that Supervisor Shamai Walton and now Supervisor Dean Preston here. Women power got our colleagues here, our male colleagues and other colleagues and many colleagues. So let's continue with this woman power. I love it, and I cannot stop saying it. You're repeating that word way too many times, woman power. But that is the power that we're displacing today.
Thank you, Supervisor Chan. It's my pleasure to now bring up the Community Engagement Coordinator of the Women's Building, Ms. Kristen Acosta.
Hello everyone, hola a todos. Woo, que viven las mujeres. Thank you. My name is Kristen Acosta and I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator at the Women's Building. It truly is an honor to be here in support and celebration of this historic event and passing of Prop A. For the past 45 years, the Women's Building has been working alongside women, the LGBTQ community, many of who are from the Latinx and immigrant backgrounds. The majority of these women are domestic workers, care workers, hospitality workers, and they shape and care for our communities and make San Francisco what it is here today. And yet, many of them find themselves staying in domestic violence situations, sleeping in their car, doubling, tripling up. So the passing of this prop is really a win for them. It's not only going to change the landscape of affordable housing in San Francisco, but it's going to make a significant and real impact on the lives of many women. So not only can they survive in San Francisco, but thrive, and that is what they all deserve. We are looking forward to working collectively with all of the amazing organizations in the coalition that made this happen, the supervisors, and our communities, so that we can all bring together our knowledge, our lived experience, our gender analysis, and so much more. Thank you so much again, and let's make this a reality. Have a good one.
Thank you, Kristen. Up next, it's my pleasure to bring up Supervisor Dean Preston.
Thank you, Eve. Hey, everyone. I'm Dean Preston, District 5 Supervisor. Congratulations on this amazing victory. And I want to, particularly as my colleagues have, recognize the leadership of our board president, Aaron Peskin, in making sure that we got this victory. Thank you, Aaron. And also our budget chair, Connie Chan. Thank you, Connie. And all my colleagues for stepping up here. Look, I think that a lot of us have worked on individual projects together, particularly during the pandemic. We worked really closely with many of you to activate the Oasis Inn as a place, as an emergency shelter for women fleeing domestic violence and families that is now a permanent place with private rooms, 58 rooms for that purpose. But I think when you do that work and you talk to people about the transformative impact on their lives, it's just heartbreaking when you know it just scratches at the surface of the extent of the problems that people are facing. And I think what is happening here with the potential to open a comprehensive women's center, and we look forward to welcoming that, is a recognition that we need to scale up. That we need to scale up our infrastructure, so it's not like winning a lottery to get the housing and the support and the care that people need to thrive. And I want to say this before I turn over the microphone. This is a great time for us to be scaling up and to be bold. We now have voters of San Francisco yet again, cutting through all the cynicism that tries to convince voters that they can't solve these societal issues and provide for people in need. They cut through all that, and they approve progressive taxes over and over again, and the bonds that we need to fund housing for people who need housing, and here in particular $30 million for women. So thank you to San Francisco voters. Thank you for San Francisco voters for cutting through the noise, standing with all the advocates, and seizing this opportunity right now. And I gotta say, there's downturns we all know in the market in this city. Those are opportunities with these funds for us to be acquiring places for people to live, converting office space into places where people who were formerly homeless can live and get the support they need. I am so inspired by the hope that you all have and the vision in putting this measure on the ballot. So to Eve, to Dr. Tate, to Francesca, to Sammy, to every one of you here, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You are everything that is great about San Francisco. Let's do this.
It's my absolute honor to welcome our next speaker, co-chair of the Women's Housing Coalition and the Chief Impact Officer of Community Forward, SF, Sammy Rayner.
We did it! We did it, and you've heard so many compelling testimonies today. I want to hold up just some ground, like what are we starting from here? 41% of our unhoused population in San Francisco are cis, trans women, and non-binary individuals. Almost half. We need to have half the space be safe for this population. Homelessness among women and girls is rising nationally at double the rate of that of men and boys. This is a national crisis, and San Francisco responded. You've heard reasons why. So homelessness and housing instability is different for women. Women are fleeing violence in the home to find violence on the street and in our shelters. Our safety net is not safe for women. The reason why we're here today is we are on a path to change that. The San Francisco Women's Housing Coalition was formed because we knew we were stronger together, and you all came together and made this happen today. I want to take a moment to thank each individual organization. Together, the coalition has been a huge part of making this happen. So the Center for Juvenile and Criminal Justice, San Francisco's Safe House, Taxpayers for Public Safety, Community Forward San Francisco, St. Anthony's Foundation, San Francisco Domestic Violence Consortium, Freedom Forward, Compass Family Services, Black Women Revolt Against Domestic Violence, and the Women's Building. I thank again all of our speakers today for continuing to be with us, especially those at the Board of Supervisors and the Mayor. This was a unanimous vote where everyone agreed in San Francisco. I think we have to celebrate that and know that this is not the end, this is the beginning. Prop A team, thank you so much to everyone who volunteered, all of our affordable housing partners who were so critical to making this happen. And thank you, of course, it's been said multiple times, but the voters made this happen. The voters brought this home, and we are so grateful. And we are here today to promise this is going to be the start, not the end. And we are going to see that these funds create true safety for women and people who have experienced gender-based violence in our community. We are not going to rest. I think Supervisor Chan said it well. This is women powered, and it is not over until it is over. We have so much work to do. So our ask of the voters is stay with us. When you see women carved out on the November ballot, when you see propositions, any opportunity you can vote and volunteer. If we want to end generational violence in our community, we have to invest in the backbone of our community, and that is women. So thank you.
Thank you, Sammy. Last but not least, it is my absolute honor to present to you from the Department of the Status of Women, Director Kimberly Ellis.
Hello, what a beautiful day. I want to thank our supervisors who have joined us today, many of whom have been supporters of this initiative for a really long time. I want to thank you for your long-standing support and for standing with women. You know, my name is Kimberly Ellis, and I'm the director for the Department on the Status of Women. And I think you've heard everything you needed to hear today. And the takeaway, the meta takeaway is this. Women are 51% of the planet. 51%. I don't know about other planets, but on this planet, we're the majority. San Francisco has long had a reputation for being a progressive, liberal, pro-woman, pro-choice city. It is time for this city to ensure that its words match its values. And what we saw just a few weeks ago was the voters demonstrating their values by voting to pass Prop A. And so I'm here to express my deep gratitude to you all, to the San Franciscans, who voted to use an intersectional and a gender lens when approaching issues, especially issues like homelessness. This should also be a footnote for the future. This is how we win. By centering women, by centering the least among us, and building out from there, we can really pull together coalitions that are winning coalitions for everyone. So I just want to say on behalf of the department, on behalf of our work that we do to ensure that women, girls, and non-binary are not afterthoughts, we're not add-ons. We should start the conversations. When they say you can tell what a city, what a state, what a country values by how they treat their women and their girls and their children. So this is a very clear message from the San Franciscan voters that they value and support women and girls and non-binary. And so we're looking forward to being a partner with all of you to ensure that we create more safe housing and spaces for women. And as Sammy said, this is not the end, this is just the beginning. We look forward to being a partner with you to ensure that everyone has a safe place to live and to sleep, especially and including women and girls and non-binary people. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Ellis, and thank you to all of our speakers today. A special thank you to Board President Aaron Peskin. Thank you to the San Francisco Women's Housing Coalition, and especially thank you to the voters. Thank you.